Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. Follow us on Twitter at Boink Studios and check out our Facebook page where you can see all of our projects, past, present, and future. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Hey, hey! What is up, folks? Welcome to the program. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and you are listening to Tom Clark's Main Event. This, my friends, is episode number 48 of the podcast today, and if you are joining us for the very first time, we will bid you welcome. If you're coming back for a repeat visit, we say, hey, thanks for checking back in with us. And to all those involved, we extend to you, as always, the customary laurel and a hearty handshake. Thanks for your support. Thanks for listening. Thanks for downloading and subscribing. Thanks for reading my stuff. And hey, thanks for always being there, Doc. 48 episodes, man. That's pretty cool, huh? I'm happy about it. I'm not on pace as many of my peers who do the podcast thing are, unfortunately. Some of the guys I listen to are well up past 100, 200, and they're still going strong. God bless them. We'll get there one day, man. Just have faith. But we have fun here on the show. We hope that you enjoy it. As I tell you each and every time, I appreciate your feedback. We get some excellent feedback. I get some nice emails, and I get conversations on Twitter, sometimes direct messages, and I get some pretty cool comments on Facebook as well. We here at Boink Studios aim to please. That's what we're doing, man. So our creative output is not what it once was, mostly because, life kind of happens and we have other projects going on. By we, I mean we here at Boink Studios, Kyle Smith and myself. Which reminds me, have you checked out our sister podcast? Well, if you haven't, let me just tell you about it right now. It is Tom and Kyle's Comedy Action Hour. We're going to be recording again very soon and getting some more episodes hitting. So please stay tuned for that. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe and download today. A lot of the things we cover a lot of comic books, movies, TV, a little bit of pro wrestling, and some pop culture stuff, and a lot of it's evergreen, which we in the business say evergreen, which is to say that you can listen to it anytime. It's not really dated. And if it is, the whole show is not dated. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not really time sensitive or anything like that. So listen, let's not waste any more time, because the past few episodes of the Main Event here have been what I like to call abbreviated podcasts. As you guys know, we usually like to do at least an hour, and we've been pushing about 30 minutes to 45 minutes the past few shows. A lot of that is because we're on the road, we're out and about, we're doing things, and honestly, man, I got some stuff I want to talk to you about, which that gets the new episode rolling here. Let's just go ahead and do that. Episode number 48. This time around, the main event is the Raw Renaissance. And if you are a pro wrestling fan, you know what Raw is, of course. It's WWE's flagship program that airs every Monday night live on the USA Network. 3 hours worth of spine-chilling, edge-of-your-seat entertainment as only Vince McMahon can offer. I'm laughing because that's not exactly what's been happening as of late. But I will put it to you this way. Recent episodes of Raw lead me to believe, as well as a lot of other people out there, that perhaps, cross your fingers, man, that there is a renaissance happening for Monday Night Raw. SmackDown's a good show. I love the network, but Raw is Raw, and Raw is the epicenter of everything in that company. It's the live event. It's every Monday. It's, anyone can be there. Surprise guests, surprise comeback, surprise heel turns, face turns. Whatever the internet doesn't ruin for you. And the internet ruins a lot of stuff for me, man. I'll be honest with you. I don't really care about spoilers. If you guys know me, I don't like spoilers. It's not my thing. It never has been. I don't like them. I hate them. Anytime I write anything that's got anything to do with what's coming up on the show, maybe you haven't seen or something like that, I always try to give you a spoiler warning at the forefront. Well, honestly, I'll be truthful with you. I kind of stay away from those columns, man, because I don't like to do that at all. A lot of what I write is reaction piece, predictive pieces, things of that nature. But I don't really like to tell you, hey, I read the results of SmackDown. Here's what's going to happen. Well, guess what, dude? You want to know what's going to happen on SmackDown so bad? Go watch SmackDown. Makes sense to me. Monday Night Raw is where it's at, man. And as we all know, anything can happen in WWE. Anything can happen live. Yes? And that's what it all boils down to, is that live television is very unpredictable. They can try to hit you with whatever they have. The guys who are trying to, here's what I heard, who's going to be there tonight. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's complete garbage. It just depends on who it is and what they're predicting or whatever. This past Monday Night Raw, depending on when you choose to listen to this podcast, actually, this past Monday Night Raw, we're talking about the March 7th edition, actually. The March 7th edition took place in Chicago, and of course they chanted CM Punk right out the gate, which was quelled very quickly by Vince McMahon himself. The Chicago crowd is like the New York crowd, is like the Philly crowd. They're tough. They tend to get a little distracted sometimes. They tend to chant whatever they want to chant. It wasn't very bad this time. There was a few distractions, but nothing major. We're not going to focus specifically on this episode, but we're going to talk about a few things that did happen, which lead me to believe that maybe, just maybe, and again, I say this with a lot of trepidation and a lot of hesitation, actually, because I will believe it when I see it. But it seems as though the pieces are falling into place for a renaissance to take place for Monday Night Raw. And again, that's a big, bold prediction. That's a crazy thing to say for anybody, for any one of us, actually. But it's how I feel. And I think if that company makes the right moves, dots the T's and crosses the I's wherever they need to, then this thing can actually start going forward in a very positive direction. And how do you get things going? How do you build momentum for a pro wrestling program? How do you do that? How do you breathe new life into the roster, breathe new life into a 3-hour show? How do you do that, Tom? Well, it's real easy, brother. Here's how you do it. New talent, fresh faces, new directions. Sami Zayn made what we're assuming now, speculation on our part here, so bear with us. We assume that Sammy's moving up to the main roster. It's about time. Good for him. Glad to see it happen. NXT is basically full of guys who are ready right now. It's just a matter of there's a lot of veteran WWE guys on the roster, a lot of guys that have been there for a while. You can't just edge those boys out, you know what I'm saying? And you got to go slow. A lot of people get upset that Joe's not there yet, that Finn's not there. Finn's coming in time, but you have to put the chess pieces in place in order to move around the board. To take the titles, to take the main event spots, to, headline the house shows that NXT runs and headline the events that NXT runs. You can't just throw half those guys and just put them on Raw and say, here you go, tear the house down. They could do it, but it's a matter of, will the crowd accept them? Sammy's been accepted, and I'll tell you why I believe so. I said this months and months and months ago, if you were listening. Sami Zayn has the Daniel Bryan factor. Now, I'm not suggesting that the two are on par. Sammy could be a bit better in some guys' opinions. He could maybe not be a bit better in some guys' opinions. I'm not talking about skill level. I'm talking about in his ability to gain the sympathetic vote. He can be a sympathetic figure. Why? Because he represents the underdog. Don't you love the underdog? Don't say you don't, because you're lying. The underdog is where it's at, especially in pro wrestling, especially in Vince McMahon's company. Okay, CM Punk was an outspoken guy. I mean, I guess you could kind of call him the underdog. Rey Mysterio was the one that first really got that tagline. Crash Holly did to a certain extent. Spike Dudley did to a certain extent. But Rey was the one I think that really capitalized on the whole idea of the underdog. Who was the next guy to have it? Daniel Bryan, man. Well, now we're all now aware, of course, that Daniel is on the shelf. God bless him. Thanks for everything you did for us, man. And we mean that from the heart, actually. Guy's just an awesome person, awesome worker, great talent, great all-around performer. One of the best of all time, in my opinion. And I think he left a lot of championships, a lot of years, a lot of great rivalries, and a lot of fantastic matches on the table. It's a shame. But here's the question I got for you, man. Could Sammy really slide into that? Again, I'm not talking about replacing Daniel. Everyone calm down. No hate mail to yours truly. For goodness sake, calm yourself down, dude. I'm not suggesting that. But what I am suggesting to you is that in terms of the underdog, in terms of the next guy to get the vote of the fans who are looking at him saying, wow, I like him, but man, he's not the biggest dog in the fight. He's not this, he's not that. He takes a beating. Takes a beating like Dolph Ziggler. He keeps getting back up. See what I'm saying? Talk about two opposite sides of the coin. Since we're already talking about it, let's talk about this. Dolph Ziggler once again got beat down on Monday Night Raw, this time at the hands of the Authority. Now, let me ask you this. At what point does Dolph Ziggler, the man, Nick Nemeth, I believe is his last name, all right? At what point does the man, Dolph Ziggler, look at the character and say, you know what, I think I'm done? Now, that seems dumb, right? He's on the network. He's still on TV. He's on the YouTube channel. It's not like he doesn't exist. For anyone that says Dolph is being buried, and these are the same doofuses, and I've never understood, by the way, what the plural is of doofus. Is it doofus or doofy? I like doofy. Doofson, perhaps? I don't know. If you come up with something, let me know. I'm all ears. But a lot of the doofy online presume to believe that Daniel Bryan was getting buried. Oh, Triple H and his shovel. Triple H and his mythical shovel, man, just like Thor and the hammer. You see what I'm saying? Thor's got Mjolnir and Triple H has got the shovel where he's just burying guys left and right. Okay, whatever. Never bought it then, not buying it now. Sorry, I'm just not. They claim that Daniel was getting buried, although at the same time, Daniel Bryan was on TV each and every week. He was getting thrown in main event matches or near the top of the card. He was having good matches, good quality matches. He's getting mic time. They were selling his merchandise, but he was getting buried. Okay. You want to know what buried is? Go ask Zack Ryder what buried is. Okay? That's what buried is, man. I'll be honest with you. Now, to Zack's credit, he has been on NXT. God bless him. But that's what buried is, in my opinion, is what they did to Zack. And then, yes, for anyone out there who disagrees with me, you're wrong. Zack was absolutely shoved to the side. They did that to him. He did nothing to himself. Have you seen the guy? Do you follow him on the social media? Dude is in fantastic shape. He really takes care of himself. He's got a heart for this. He wants it. They don't want him. They want him to go do the publicity stuff. They want him to be on the network. They want him to be on YouTube, whatever else they're doing. You know, they want him for publicity stuff and for press conferences and all that crap. And they want him on NXT. That's awesome. Good for Zack. I'm glad he's earning a living. But you got to believe he wants a lot more than what he's getting. So again, go back to Dolph for a second, man. Talk about two guys on the opposite ends of the spectrum. But you got Sammy versus Dolph. Okay, and Dolph is at the end of his rope. He's been there and done that. Received some opportunities and then got quashed or squashed, whatever you want to say. And now he's back to basically jerking the curtain all the time, getting beat down, getting made an example of. I know it's storyline, I get that, but you got to remember who's actually running the thing. So how much of that is real, how much of it's a work or a shoot, who knows, dude. But two opposite ends of the spectrum. You know, you got to believe Sammy's on his way up. He does a lot of the things that Dolph does, except Dolph has sort of been pigeonholed. He's been put into a corner, and that's where he's being kept, okay? But here's what and again, no disrespect to Dolph, but if they have no plans for him, they're just going to leave him in the corner. You got to start breathing new life into the product. The one thing, talking about Raw, by the way, there's a reason we're not watching Monday Nitro anymore. Okay, there's a reason why we're not watching Monday Nitro, featuring WWE stars as well as I was going to say NWA as well, I suppose, as well as WCW stars. Here's the reason why: because WCW didn't build any new talent. They didn't have it, like, their feeder system sucked. Well, I can't say it sucked. They just didn't do anything with those guys. See, they didn't get them the ball, let them run with. They didn't build any new talent. They built one guy, Goldberg. That was it. And they did an impressive job with him, but then in the end, they screwed him too, right? So they didn't know what they were doing, honestly. They had no plans for the future. You cannot, as a pro wrestling company, just plan for today. You have to look to tomorrow. WWE knew that. Vince McMahon knew that. All of them knew that, and they pressed forward with the younger talent. At a time when they could have stuck with veterans, when they could have made a play to get some of their veterans back, they said, you know what, go, leave, it's fine, man, do what you want to do. Go to Atlanta, make your living. Totally cool with us. We're going to start bringing new guys. This guy, he's going to call himself The Rock. And we got a veteran He's shaved his head. He's going to call himself Stone Cold. We're going to let him run with it. We got a guy that you laughed at and threw out named Mick Foley. Well, guess what? We're gonna let him do whatever personality he wants. He's gonna get that stuff over, and he's gonna be huge. Do you see what I'm saying? They built new talent. They gave guys opportunities. The one thing you have to say about WWE, they've got a ton of new talent. They've got a ton of fresh faces. They got a ton of guys who are ready to take that company to the next level. The problem is they're all in NXT, man. So at some point, if you want Raw to truly have a renaissance, man, you have to breathe new life into the program. What else do you have to do to give Raw a renaissance? You have to make people feel like they have to tune in. Okay? How do you do that? You can't do the same thing every week. Straight up. You do the same thing every week, people are going to start tuning out. And they should, because it would be complete crap. You cannot, for time immemorial, run the authority versus everybody else. Here's the problem with that company. And it depends on who you're asking, what your opinion is. Maybe you think that company has a lot of problems. Well, good on you. Whatever you want to think, dude. It's your opinion. Go with it. Here's what I'm thinking about this whole thing, dude. All right? The problem I see, one of the major problems I see with that company right now, and get close if you need to and listen to this because it's good stuff. They're not making you feel like that you need to be watching anymore, that you're going to watch the same stuff all the time. They have an obsession. Here's the point here. They have an obsession with the authority figure on television, the heel authority figure. From the Mr. McMahon character all the way to Stephanie as GM and to when they brought Bischoff in and William Regal did it and Teddy Long, they even turned Teddy heel at some point. And they had John Laurinaitis was heel. Brad Maddox, as Punk used to say. I love that, by the way. Heyman. So you had all these heel authority figures, man. That company, it worked one time. And they said, oh my God, we've tapped into something. Let's do it for the next 20 years. And guess what they have? And they don't know how else to run it. They don't. That's it. That's all. Goodbye. Don't go anywhere. I'm not done. But that's the point I'm making here. They believe that's all you need, and they've reinforced that time after time after time. I wouldn't be surprised if that was written up on a grease board somewhere in a WWE creative meeting. Be sure there's heels in charge. Maintain the heel status quo. We got to have the heels in charge. That is part of the mantra. That's part of the everyday operation of that company on TV. Heels must be in charge. And I'm going to tell you something right now. For everyone out there hoping that Shane wins on Raw and that they're going to change Raw, that he's going to have something to do with changing Raw, first of all, welcome to the storyline. Not going to call you Mark because Mark is a fan. So, welcome to the storyline. I'm glad you're a fan. Glad you're enjoying the show. But you don't really believe that, do you? You don't really believe that if Shane were to beat Undertaker at WrestleMania 32 in the Hell in a Cell, that he would actually be the guy that brings about change in Monday Night Raw? Dude, we're talking about authority figures. We're talking about guys in power. And Triple H and Stephanie are running the show. I'm not suggesting that they're not. But on TV, it's a totally different thing, man. I mean, these are the same cats I would assume that behind the curtain they're talking, they're shaking hands, they're asking about guys' families. Hey, how are you doing, man? You look a little banged up and stuff, and how you walking, how you feeling, that kind of thing. And then you go out there and you crucify that guy in front of a nationwide audience because that's your job. See, so it's two entirely different things. But for anyone to sit there and suggest to me that Shane McMahon is going to turn Monday Night Raw around, again, welcome to the storyline. Glad you're having fun watching. Here's what I will say to you regarding this. Shane McMahon is going to turn heel in a heartbeat. And if anyone believes he's not, they are fooling themselves. Storyline-wise, you cannot trust the McMahon family. Some people would suggest you can't trust them in real life either. I don't know. I don't know them personally. How do I know that stuff, man? But you can't trust the McMahon in storyline, dude, because they will stab you in the back. They will do whatever that's possible, anything in their power, okay, to screw you over, to take control, to be the guys in charge. They rule with an iron fist because that's what they do as a family. That's what they do individually. As a collective, the McMahon family is all about oppressing the little guy. They've made careers out of that stuff. They love it. See what I'm saying? They love it. It's what they do. And they don't know how else to do business. They don't know anything else, man. Because say what you want about TNA, and you should, because TNA has got a really, really bad product. They've got talent. They have no direction. And you know, when AJ and Joe was there, and Daniels and Kaz, and these guys were going strong, Sting was still there, I think the direction was there. I'm not saying it was to the top, but I think they had a fairly good sense of direction and a sense of storyline. They'd have no idea what they're doing now, which is a shame, because I got a lot of respect for Matt. I consider Matt a friend. Matt Hardy's doing the best he can as world champion. Now, here's the thing that I'm telling you right now. You have to have a sense of direction. You have to have a sense of urgency. And I'm not going to get off the TNA thing, but bear with me here, man. It's got a point. Just trust me. You have to have a sense of urgency. You have to have a sense of direction. You have to have everything is going somewhere, okay? Because TNA's got no direction at all. I mean, they just don't. You have to feel like there's some sort of continuity. If you're a comic book fan, that word's huge for you. You got to have a feeling there's some sense of continuity, that you've got somewhere that you're heading toward, okay? And it's very important that you know that. It's very important that you're able to feel like that. If you didn't watch last week, well, then, man, you missed something. You see what I'm saying? Because one event affects the next event, and so on and so forth. And again, you have to build toward the future. They know this, man. But the whole, and again, going back to TNA for a second, say what you want about TNA, and I got off on the direction thing, but it's to the larger point here, trust me. But not to throw off on anyone else here, and not to say that TNA does everything right, because they don't. But how often do you recall in the past that TNA had the heel direction, had the heels in charge, that they had, I have to have it. Dixie has to be heel. We have to have an on-air, an on-screen heel guy in charge. Now listen, apples to oranges, I get that. And I'm just giving you an example that you can run a pro wrestling show without having to have that. But WWE disagrees with me. And if you agree with me, they'll disagree with you too. Again, this is how that company does business. They don't know how else to do it. And if they do, they're not talking. Do you know what I mean? They ain't talking, man, because this is how they feel that you need to do business. I think it's distracting. I think it's too much. I don't think it's necessary. I think it takes away from the entertainment factor that fans have. I think it takes away from how guys can relate to fans when they're watching the show. I think it takes away from a lot of how the product is received. Stop cramming the heels down my throat. I can't stand it anymore, man. This thing where Stephanie's gloating backstage, and to Dolph, oh, well, you tried to put us out of business, but we're still here. Dude, Shane's going to turn heel, and when it happens, you're all going to be going, oh, what happened? Oh, no, it's the same old stuff. And you're going to look back to this podcast and to the stuff I've been writing, and you're going to say to yourself, man, the big hairy dude kind of had a point. Well, guess what? You didn't listen. So do me a favor. Listen now. See, tell your friends now. Don't get too wrapped up in this. It's all storyline. Now, is this to suggest that Tom doesn't want things to change? Well, duh, no. No. Absolutely not. I want to see Monday Night Raw have a renaissance of the highest order. I want to feel like when I tune in on Monday. See, here's what I do on Monday night. I got like several browsers open on my laptop. Okay, several windows open, I should say. Okay, and like one's Twitter, one's Facebook, one's my web page, one's the Boink Studios Facebook page. One is Bleacher Report, where I'm usually writing a column. Okay, one's WWE.com, and then I've got Monday Night Raw on the TV. All right. And sometimes I got headphones in at the same time. So I'm keeping up with all this stuff. All right. And I'm watching all this. I want Raw to make me feel like I got to stop with the laptop and focus on the TV. I don't get that anymore. I haven't gotten that in a long time. You know when I get it? The opening spot. The opening spot in the end. I want there to be moments where I'm like, all right, dude, I got to put this down. The column's going to have to wait. You see what I'm saying? I don't have that. I don't have that all the time like I used to, man. I miss those days. Remember the days, if you're old enough to know this, remember the days of switching back and forth between the WCW and WWE? Nitro, Monday Night Raw, remember? Changing the channel during commercials. I did it all the time, man. Funny thing is, I was recording one and watching the other, and I would still flip back and forth just to catch it because I didn't want to miss anything. That's what I want again. I want that feeling like I can't miss it. Like, dude, did you miss Raw? You missed Raw? Dude, are you out of your mind? I don't get that anymore. I'm not able to say that to anyone anymore, honestly. Again, it comes in segments, it comes in spots, it comes very few and far between where I'm able to say that about that show. But I want Monday Night Raw to be new, to be fresh, to be different, to have a great direction, to feel like it's going somewhere positive, that the creative forces, the creative minds behind that show are doing everything in their power to impress you and make you say, wow, this is some great television. How often have you said that about Monday Night Raw? Wow, this is some great television. And don't tell me one match at a time. Don't give me that this is awesome chant because, two guys threw 4 arm drags in a row and they jump back up and they're in fighting stance. That's not this is awesome. Flair versus Steamboat is awesome, okay? Dusty versus Tully, that is awesome, all right? There's a big difference between that and 2 guys who run 3 spots in a row and end up on their feet. No disrespect to anybody in WWE, because I got a lot of respect for a lot of those talents, I'll be honest with you. But dude, do not get sucked in. Do not get sucked into this is awesome. This is how desperate people are to make Raw great again. Not to rip off anybody's campaign slogan. Trump, oh, you suck, dude. But, not to get all political on you there, sorry. But no, don't allow yourself to get sucked in because this is awesome chance mean nothing. This is, again, a prime example of how fans want to make Raw the best. They want to find something about Raw that makes them say, okay, I love this show again. See? It was a good show, right? Did you see? See the arm drags and the hit tosses? See? It was awesome, right? You see the drop kicks, right? See? Don't get sucked in, man. That's what they want you to do is get sucked in and be happy with the spots they give you. I don't want spots, man. I want a whole 3 hours of nothing but great stuff. Don't tell me it's impossible. Don't tell me it can't happen because that's a lie. It's all a lie. It can't happen. It needs to happen. It should happen. It's got to happen all the time. They got the talent. They got creative that can make it happen. These guys are writing storylines all the time. Tom's storylines suck. Guess what? Change them. Go to the next thing. Make me believe again in the product. Make me suspend disbelief in your product and make me feel like I'm watching an MMA fight. I'm not watching something that's predetermined. I don't want that feeling. Make me forget that it takes 2 guys to wrestle a match, not just one most of the time, that he's not really running the ropes, that he actually did get Irish whipped. You see what I'm saying? I want to believe again like I did when I was a kid. Raw is capable and has the power of doing that. When it's firing on all cylinders, you are able to suspend your disbelief. Tell me how many of you popped when Shane cut the promo on the March 7th edition of Raw when he said that there was a lot of talents being held back, not being given opportunities, and there was a lot of talents that didn't have any talent, that have no business being on TV. How many of you popped? Dude, they're trolling you. Don't fall for it. Don't get sucked into that. Don't believe in what they're saying. You want to know why? Ask me why. Glad you asked. Don't believe it because the proof is in the pudding, man. See what I'm saying? Don't tell me you're going to do something. Show me. It's the number one deal for a writer. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't give me details. Show me. Don't tell me the guy has a gun. Show me what kind of gun he has. It's that kind of plot point. You see what I'm saying? Don't tell, show. That's what I want from that company. Don't cut smart promos where you think you're getting in and butting up to me. You're Shane McMahon. You're Vince's son. I'm not falling for that crap. Okay? None of you think that Roman needs to be took off TV. None of you think that Kevin Owens needs to lose weight, because if you did, Kevin would have lost weight already. Roman would have been off TV a long time ago. So don't give me any of that garbage, okay? Guys are on TV because you want them on TV. Don't tell me you don't have anybody else to those spots, because that's nonsense. Again, whole company in Florida full of guys that could be called up and be worked with right now. Right now, okay? So don't feed me that garbage. I ain't having it, bro. I threw the word bro. I used the B word. I'm sorry. But show me. Don't tell me. So don't get sucked into that, man. We're talking about a company that believes it has no competition. And they really don't. There's other companies out there the aforementioned TNA. There's Ring of Honor that's still firing on all cylinders for the most part. Lucha Underground has a very unique product. If you've never watched Lucha Underground, dude, do yourself a favor and watch it. It's the most unique pro wrestling product you will ever watch and that I've ever seen. And that's the truth, man, straight up. Go watch yourself some Lucha Underground, man. It's well worth the visit. Trust me on that one, okay? There's New Japan. They've got their network, their subscription service thing, right? So there's other guys out there, but WWE sees them. They don't care about them. When you have a company as inflated and as big and as massive and as $1 billion WWE who believes it has no competition, no one to fight against, guess what's going to happen? They're going to rest on their laurels, which is what they've done for a lot of years, a long time. Trust me, man. And it's only getting worse. They believe that they're in charge, they're on top for a really good reason, and that if you have an opinion, you're probably going to be wrong. Okay? I don't need a pro wrestling company to talk down to me. I don't need a pro wrestling company to try to give me what they think I want. I want a pro wrestling company to give me something different. And you know what? If it doesn't stick, it doesn't stick. But don't give me the same story each and every week. Now, I am not suggesting that you can tell a story with a guy in a week and be done. I'm not suggesting that Roman Reigns' rise to the top need to be told in 2 weeks and he's done. I didn't say that. Don't put words into my mouth because I am not saying that. I'm not saying that at all, man. I'm not saying that you can do this stuff in a week or 2 weeks or even 4 or 6 weeks, man. It takes time to build a character. It takes time to build a guy up to main event proportions. It took a lot of time to get Roman to this point that he's at right now. I'm not suggesting that that can be done very, very quickly. It's not possible to do it very, very quickly. So get that out of your head. I'm not suggesting that it is possible. Not once have I ever said that. What I am telling you is, when you show me the same thing each and every week, when you continue to shove it down my throat each and every week, I'm going to start getting bored. And I'm going to start turning the channel. Well, I'm not going to turn the channel. I do this for a living. So, you see what I'm saying? The casual fan who WWE needs to be going after, because the hardcore fans like me are always going to be watching pro wrestling. That we're not really going to stop watching. They need to go after the casual fan that has tuned out already for whatever reason. That's what they need, okay? Admittedly, can we all agree on that one at least? That's what they need. So if you want that to happen, then you have to be able to move on to the next thing and go in other directions. Get other guys up there. Now, I'm not saying everyone's capable of being main event guys. Don't put words in my mouth again. Please don't do that, man. I'm not saying that just because X, Y, and Z is on TV, they could be the champ. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am telling you is you have to get to a point as a pro wrestling company, specifically WWE, in which they are able to move to the next thing. And they can get more than one guy going at a time. It's like we focus on 1 to 2 guys and that's all we get. Then you get a lot of mid-card dudes there. Well, like to have right now. That's the problem that we've got as WWE fans. Anyone that calls himself WWE fan, whether you're a WWE fan, a pro wrestling fan, whatever it is, if you watch that company, that's the problem you have. That's the problem they're having. It's mid-card guys all the way through the card, except for 1 to 2 dudes, and that's it. Well, 1 to 4, can we say, something like that. That's what you've got. So as long as that's the case, they're always going to continue to have this problem. No renaissance is possible for that program on Monday nights. By the way, speaking of Raw Renaissance, guess what? This is a part 1. And I'll tell you why later. Can I just be honest with you? I just like to keep you hanging. And I just like to keep you tuning back in. I hope that you've enjoyed part 1 of the Raw Renaissance. Please come back again for part 2, which will be episode number 49. We're going to plug our stuff here, and we're going to come back with some more thrilling discussion and conversation and predictions about where we think the possible Raw Renaissance could take us in the future past WrestleMania. Because that's going to be the fun part. Trust me, it'll be a blast. So, check out our production company, Boink Studios. You can find us on Facebook. Just go over there and click the like button. As many times as you want. You get a bag of cookies for each time. And trust me, they're delicious. You can also find us on Twitter at Boink Studios. Please give us a follow. Check out our sister podcast, which is called Tom and Kyle's Comedy Action Hour. Please subscribe and download. We're on Google Play as well as iTunes. It's fun stuff. Please check it out. Let us know what you think there as well. If you like the artwork that you will see on our website, by the way, which is tomclarkbr.wix.com/boink, the artwork on that site is produced by Kyle Smith, my partner in crime. And if you like the content written on that site, well, it's written by yours truly, of course. And if you happen to like the music you heard on this podcast, as well as Tom and Kyle's Comedy Action Hour, that's done by another member of our team. His name is Philip Fender. Now, just to let you know, Philip and Kyle are both available for freelance work. If you'd like to drop us a line, please do so. Just give us a buzz at boinkstudios@yahoo.com. We'll be very happy to return your email and get back to you as soon as we can. If you'd like to check out my WWE material, please go to bleachreport.com. I'm a featured columnist there, 6 years going and going strong. I love what I do there, so please go there and read my stuff and support me if you will. Also, you can check out my pro wrestling page, my own blog. It's tomclarkbr.wix.com/blog. You can also feel free to follow me on Twitter at tomclarkbr. If you'd like to drop me an email, please do so, tomclarkbr@yahoo.com. I think we've hit them all. And again, we hope you've enjoyed part 1 of the show here. We're going to be back with part 2, hopefully in the next few days. Please feel free to come back and check it out. We hope that you do. Give us some feedback on this episode. Tell me what you think. If you got ideas for future shows, hit me with them, man. I'm all ears. I am open to suggestion. Anything you got, we can go there, man. It's no problem with me at all. All right? So, thanks again for listening. Thanks again for supporting and for reading our stuff. Thanks for always giving us some great feedback and for tuning in. We do appreciate your patronage. It means a lot to us, man. So thank you ever so much for doing that for us all the time. And we will see you again. Come back soon for part 2 of this show. And come back to see us as soon as you can, right here on Tom Clark's Main Event.